Yeah.
So what are you doing with women that basically just gave up and focused their energy on other things? Are they even a
Well,
target
that's a
group of
really good
yours?
question, and I think that's a question that and I'm going to answer it this way for me personally. So, like, you and I are talking about how you're helping me with marketing, and I'm helping you with like dating, and
Or
with
not?
marketing, like what you did,
Or not in
just
the
said with
terms of like, I
marketing.
don't even know if I want to date or not. That's why I'm saying or not.
Yeah, yeah, and well, and what you were just saying about, okay, the numbing, right? When you want
Yeah.
something, we'll just take the what away, right? What do you do when it is that there's something that's out there that you could potentially pray for, manifest, attract, achieve, whatever it is, experience? There's something out there more that you could experience, or you could retreat back to your day to day. What do you do with that? And I think this is where I am bullheaded as the day is long, but I also have suffered the depths of that numbing, like you've said, that numbing where, like, time and time again. And I'll just give three examples really quickly. One was, oh, I'm going to crack. One was having children.
Mm.
There were times where, because I used to have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I struggled with keeping a pregnancy, and I would miscarry early on. And I remember friends saying, well, you have other kids. And it was like a knife in my heart.
Mm.
Why are you trying again? What does it matter? And even my ex-husband was that perspective. And I continuously would say, I know that this is something I desire to experience. It goes back to that whole reason why I called this course Hungry for More. I knew there was something more I wanted to experience. And being in the in between and waiting didn't take away my desire. Still knew that that thing that was more was something I desired. I may not want to admit that about myself at times because I couldn't force it to happen. I couldn't control it happening. But did I want it? When I laid there quietly in bed at night, did I think about it? Did I dream about it? Did I desire it? Yes. And then I did. I ended up going through and having, three full-term pregnancies and beautiful babies and children that are amazing now. And then another one was the farm. I wanted this farm that was out of our price range. And my ex-husband and the real estate agent were like, that's way out of your price range. It's never gonna happen. And I was like, no, I want to put in an offer for a fourth less. And they're like, that's insane. They started laughing at me. And I was like, no, I know that is my desire. We've looked at all these other houses and I keep coming back to that. I know that's my desire. And I know that I would have desired if it's not what God has for me. I know that. And they're like, that's never going to happen. If you put in that offer, they're going to laugh at you. And I said, I know who I am. I know the God I serve. And it's the same God who broke down the walls of Jericho. If this is for us, then he is for us and this will happen. And we put in the offer and lo and behold, guess what? We got the house. We did. And looking back, people are like, how did that happen? That's how, And then the same thing again with when it came to me, praying for and desiring my husband. And I've done this many times in my life. Where I live right now at the beach, at the ocean front. Again and again, these things where people are like, yeah, but what you have is fine. What you have is enough. What you have is good. I fill in the blank, suffer. Why strive? Why whatever for more? And so when you're asking, like, what do you do when you're in the in between? I ask myself, one, is this something I truly desire? Is it truly? And you'll know it because if you replace it with anything else in there, okay, somebody's going to give me, I truly desire this, whatever it is. We'll say a house. If somebody was to offer you a different house, does that light you up as much? If it doesn't, then that's the house. Like, you know it. I know it. You know what I mean? You can't just replace it with another house. It's that house. And it's either going to be that one or one just like it. You know what I mean? Or better. So is this something truly that I desire? Because if it is, I'm meant to experience this or better. I am. That's why it lights me up. You know what I mean? And then two, will I look back and regret not having experienced this? There's a lot of things that I'm going to look back and not regret having experienced. Great things. You know what I mean? If somebody's like, here's a free ticket to Istanbul right now, I'd be like, ah, that's cool. Whatever. Or Bali, whatever. Be like, ah, whatever. But there are certain things where I look back and you go, where I think, oh, if I was to look back on this, I would feel as though this was a life not lived. I would feel like this was very much a life not lived. And so I focus on those two things and remember those two things when I feel like numbing out, when I feel frustrated, when I feel like, where is it going to work? When is it going to work? And then the third thing is when I find myself going, why isn't it working yet? You're in the in between. I know that our reticular activating system at any 1 minute is scanning for 11,000 pieces of data, but it only takes in 40. And if I'm looking for why it's not working, I will find why it's not working. I will feed why it's not working. If I'm looking for how it can be working and imagining ways that it could be working that I don't even see yet, I'm feeding that. There's a Native American proverb: we all have two wolves inside of us. Whichever one you feed is the one that grows. And neuroscientifically, we only experience either pain or, pleasure. Or another way that we can experience that is, or say that, and I teach about this, is fear or faith. Both fear and faith expect you to believe in the not yet seen. And so when I'm in that not yet seen, am I feeding fear or am I feeding faith? And I'm not responsible for the outcome. I'm not responsible for the how and the why. I'm responsible for the container
Or the
space of
when.
energy that I am right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's really well put. And I mean, what still resonates so much with me, or what is really sinking in only now, is what you say about the reticular activation system and women being multipliers. I mean, that's just so already that. I mean, if women are, if only take away one thing from all of our conversations, I want this it to be, if that makes sense. Because this changes
Mhm.
so much. That's so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you think that through the numbers game, just a numbers game, right? People say dating is a numbers game. Okay, well, at any given minute, 1 minute, at any given second, our reticular activating system is scanning for 11,000 pieces of data, but you only take in 40 based on what you're telling it to look for. So let's put that in a numbers game with dating. 11,000 potential men, and people are like, there's not 11. Well, yeah, to you, there might be 40. We just discussed that, right? So, like, you might be like, there's only potentially 40. Okay, fill it in. 11,000, right? 11,000. But the 40 that you've experienced, based on you having limited tools of what to choose, what to look for. Don't look for, don't experience red flags. Don't be this bad thing you saw. Don't be, well, you're going to look for that. You're going to experience that. What if we could
Mm.
flip the switch really quickly, which there's a whole neuro desire mapping technique that I teach in Hungry for More that does this, to scanning for the things that are the best things you've experienced regarding romance, whether it was with a book or a movie or in your life, and scanning for that because that's already coded in you. That's not coded in just, oh, future me when I do enough work. That's you right now, scanning for the best things you've experienced in your life as you are right now. And then when you're scanning for that, because you always are, opening up opportunities to romantic experiences you never even had the vision for, had the ability to even notice before and experience in the same way.
So we segued now from catching up to another deep conversation, like we always do. Because one question that came up was like, are dating apps built to keep you single?
Yes, dating apps are built to keep you single. Yes, they are. They're built to keep you on high highs with the algorithm of who is going to make you want to swipe and then put you back on and make you feel depleted. They really are. Because they do a lot of research on this. You know what I mean? The massive amounts of money gets put into these apps to keep you on the app. They want a customer for life. There was actually, side note, there was one time when I was on a date with my fiance, and he leaned over to me and he said, I really would like to be exclusive. And I, just like I teach in the dating roadmap, then was like, okay, I asked him, what does that mean to you to be exclusive? And he said, oh, I've never really been asked that before. And I said, okay, so what does that mean to you to be exclusive? You think about it, get back to me. No rush. And I was ready to go about playing disc golf again. And he's like, no, let me think about it. I think it just means that, we get off the dating apps. Like, I got off the dating app. I know you're the only one I want to be with. So you would get off the dating app too. And I said, I laughed. And I said, well, funny story there, bro. I actually have a lifetime membership. He said, you have a lifetime. He said, you have a lifetime membership on the dating app. And I said, I didn't need to. Okay. So backstory here. I said, yeah, because I would get on and I would only look at it for like a couple days. And, you have to buy it in a month package. And so then I would get back off. And like a month or so later, I'd get back on, look at it for a couple days, get back off. And months ago, and I went on and I was teasing with my friends because I went on and they said, actually, we would like to offer you a lifetime membership for a reduced rate. And I told my friends, wow, they pretty much have just given up hope on me. They're just like, you know what? You're gonna be here for life. Let's cut you a deal. Let's make it easy on you. We'll cut you a deal here. And I told him that, and he started laughing. And I said, so I'll think about it, but I'm having to give up a lifetime membership here, man. Like that's a real commitment. So fast forward, I mean, I did. I gave up my lifetime membership, but yeah, they're meant to keep you as a customer. And so they purposely in the algorithm have it set for you to experience this real high and then contact the person and it not be a really good match, it fall through, and then you come back on and do it again. And that's part of where the dating roadmap comes in as an essential tool that transforms dating for women, transforms it for you to get the right man as fast as possible is going through the dating roadmap. Because as you're going through the dating roadmap, whether you're meeting the person online or in person, nervous system itself changes. That not because, oh, I'm doing the inner work, I'm becoming the best me. You don't have to be the best you to find a husband. You don't. We all know that. We all know people who are not the best them and they have a husband, they have a great marriage. But your nervous system changes. And I don't mean you're calming it. Nobody can do life by being calm all the time. You know what I mean? That's not how our nervous system thrives. It thrives by having us have feedback. This feels a certain way. This is how I should respond. But you're no longer responding with high highs to breadcrumbs. You're only going to respond with higher highs after he has already put in the energy and shown you his intentions when you use the dating roadmap. But
Hmm.
long story short, yeah, those apps are made to have lifelong customers. They are. Yeah.
Yeah, they are designed by the same people who keep people in gambling in Las Vegas, right?
Yes. Yeah, they are. They know
Yeah.
how many people they have to have you swipe until you're going to completely give up or you're going to stay and get just enough high, just enough excitement to go, oh, maybe it'll work this time. And so if you're
Mm.
sick of that, dating roadmap. Yeah.
And the next one is a brutal one. I didn't come up with these questions, but it's a brutal one. Am I a mommy? Am I a mother or a lover?
How to tell if you're a mother or a lover. I love this question early on with dating. And this was back when I was young and after I got separated and divorced. I noticed the same thing in hindsight that I did. I showed up, I was, cooking a great meal, putting in all this effort to how I look and how I present myself. And how does he feel? I wonder what he thought. I wonder why he's texting. I wonder what he really means. That is how you think of a son. That is not how you think as a lover. As a lover, you are in receiving. As a lover, you are showing up for you and what you would want to show up as. And here's where people get stuck. They go, yeah, but I do want to show up as the person who cooks and cleans and cares for him because I want to be a wife. I get it. I was that. I love being a wife. I wanted to show up as that, but he had not earned it. So because I'm showing up as wife roles that are not earned, I'm really mother roles. That's really what
Mm.
it is. What would you like to do? Where would you like to go? You know, how does he feel
Mm.
about this? I wonder what his thoughts are. No, he presents it and you are in feminine lover role of going, this is what he's presented. How do I feel about this? Do I want to multiply this experience? Is this the same experience that I'm going to want in 6 months or 12 months? Whatever he's offering, is this longevity wise, not my lesson, but my lifetime? Is this my lifetime person and something I want to continue to multiply and experience? If not, then you're looking at it through the lens of mother, not lover.
Mm. Mm. It's a brutal one, but I think women need to hear this. It's so hard, I know, because you don't want to manipulate, you don't want to play games, but then in the end, he really has to earn certain traits of you,
Yeah,
right?
he has to prove anatomically, anthropologically, he has to present what he's offering. And then we are the ones who then go, so what he's offering, is this what I want to accept? I mean, that's literally the physical of the masculine and feminine. I have a patient who's a man and he is going through, well, he went through separation and divorce. And I have been taking him through a lot of the tools that are in Hungry for More. He actually said, you should be offering this for men because I've learned so much from you in the past 6 months. But one of the tools was when he was going through separation, he said, "Hey, do you think I'm ready to get out there? Do you think I'm ready to date? My friends are saying I'm ready to date." And I said, "You as a man will know if you're ready to date, not if you're completely healed. You don't have to be completely healed to be able to be in a healthy relationship. You don't. There, like this completely healed means life's done, book's over, there's nothing more to fix. Like that's an illusion. But you do have to ask this question as a man. What am I offering? Am I proud of what I'm offering her for her to multiply? So it's two parts. What am I offering and how could she multiply that? Because women multiply what they're offered. So what am
Yeah.
I offering to pour into her and how could she multiply that and what would that look like? And he said, "Well, right now I'm not offering anything, if you put it that way." And I said, "Then you have your answer." Because
Mm.
any woman who is willing to partner with you, who is willing to be in a relationship with you when you're not offering anything is something that down the road, you are in your feminine. She will not respect you and you will wonder why she doesn't respect you and you will feel disrespected and not proud of what you're offering and not proud of what you've created with her. And he went, "Oh my gosh, that's literally what my marriage was just now." And I said, "Yes." So for a man to know, am I ready to date again after separation and divorce? He asks, what am I offering her that I'm going to pour into her? What would it look like for her to multiply that? And is that something I'm proud of? For a woman to know, am I ready to start dating again after separation, divorce? It's her asking, what do men offer that I am willing to multiply, that I would want to continue multiplying and experiencing 6 months to a year from now. And when you look at that and men are offering things that you don't want multiplied, that you don't want to multiply 6 months to a year from now and continuing that experience, that means you have the work to do to change your standards. That's what the dating roadmap does for men and women, both of them, but to change the standards of how you're interacting. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. I know that we've been talking about this question a lot already, the upcoming one, but I see it again and again over now that you and I are talking so much about dating. The algorithms flood me, of course, as well. And again, it's again and again about red flags and trauma and inner child. Please break it down for us once more and for all. Why isn't all that stuff getting us a man?
Yeah. This is like, let's take car shopping, okay? Let's say I want to go and get an amazing car that I want to last me for years to come, right? A fantastic car that I enjoy the experience of driving. And to get this car, I'm going to talk with friends and they're going to tell me everything not to look for. Make sure it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't do that, it doesn't do this. Make sure that it's not like your other car. It doesn't do these things that have been recalled. There's also this information in 5 courses and books about recalls in general. That never helps me find my car and what I want to experience. And so with our reticular activating system, finding all of those things about better communication. I get in the course, I get into why that doesn't make a relationship last long term. Men do not stay in long-term relationships by better communication, not even with their best friends. So better communication, red flags, green flags, inner child, trauma, all of that makes you feel better because you have this illusion of I found something wrong, I get a dopamine high because I'm going to fix it and now I'm going to get the results of the beautiful car. That doesn't give you a beautiful car at all. And so with your reticular activating system, it's just telling you what not to look for. And so guess what you're going to find? All the things you're saying not to look for again and again and again. And then you go, why do I keep looping in this? That's why. Instead, what you do when you're looking for a car is you go, hey, what do I want to experience? What kind of gas mileage do I want? What kind of color do I want? What kind of interior do I want? What do I want this experience to feel like? Which is what I walk people through with the neural desire mapping guide. And instead of you focusing on all the ways that you need to do inner work to become the future you that deserves this relationship, no, you have within yourself right now experiences that you can connect to within your fascia and your muscle memory that are beautiful, that are wonderful regarding romance, whether it was a book you read or a date that you went on. Connect with all of those, consolidate those, and that's your neural desire mapping guide that now you have a clear vision of this is the experience I want to experience. So your reticular activating system can hone in on that and get it faster. That's really why. Yeah.
Mm.
Hopefully that analogy works.
Yeah, and if we stick to that analogy, what if you could test drive a relationship before letting him in or before committing to buying the car?
Or you can test drive a relationship before letting him in. That's what you do with the dating roadmap. And it walks you step by step. There's no guesswork. There's no, I felt depleted in dating. There's no, what are his intentions? Or I got into it. And then when I finally started trusting him, he burned me, he changed, he turned. None of that happens. So it's step by step of exactly what to do, guiding you step by step from the first conversation, second conversation, until the first actual in-person date. What are you looking for? And these questions are in there as prompts. And then when those prompts happen, he doesn't know that you're asking very specific questions. You do. And when you're asking these very specific questions that are just conversational, just fun and engaging, you see through his crap. You will immediately see his intention. And because of the speed in which you walk through it, which it's laid out, this conversation at this time, wait until this many days, for the next thing. Because in the pacing in which it's happening, you're not depleting yourself. Your nervous system is able to really process this, and it increases his desire for you. You're like catnip. He wants to be pursuing you even more. But the way in which he's pursuing you will be revealed of if he's chasing and is a lesson, or if he is a lifetime and he's investing in actually building together. All of that is laid out so clear with the dating roadmap. So by the time that if you decide to finally open up to him, that is so clear to you, his intentions and what you are multiplying. You're the receiver and you multiply what you receive. You are so clear about what you could possibly be multiplying and whether or not that's something you want to multiply. Yeah.
So, Jennifer, I know you have kids and many other women out there also have kids. What would you tell them? What happens to your children if you don't get remarried? I mean, it's a big topic, right?
It is. I see online a lot of women who say, I'm so happy I'm single now. I'm never getting remarried. It's best for me and my kids. And that's not what the science shows. It is best for your children, obviously, to see a mother that's happy, but it is best for your children's future relationships for them to see conflict resolution in the home, for them to see a mother being supported and those masculine and feminine roles in the home. That is what the science says. It is not best for them to see a single mother or single father. And that doesn't mean that you guys aren't doing great, that I wasn't doing great, But when I was back in that perspective of how do I do this better? And I was going through separation and divorce and processing my own pain and my own suffering and why I chose divorce. One of the things that I told my friends about, and that I even told men early on when dating, of why I want marriage again, is so I, as a parent, can offer my children them seeing the example of conflict resolution in the home, them seeing me when I'm tired or broken or sick, be supported, be loved. They have to see these things modeled for me to expect them to have that example. The world is not out there giving that to them as an example, nor is it the world's responsibility. It's my responsibility as a parent. And while, yes, I was married very young, I met my ex-husband when I was 17. I did not have better tools to choose a better partner. I did it. And not as a victimhood, not as escapism. I just did it. Most of us don't. I now have better tools to choose a better husband and have that conflict resolution modeled for them, and have it modeled for them what it is to have that masculine and feminine roles, and for them to see me tired and exhausted to go, hey, honey, I really feel tired today, and see what he does now. And what he does in my life is go, like last week I was sick and he's like, what kind of soup could I bring you? Immediately they see someone loving me. If they don't see that modeled, how will they learn that? Like they have to see these things modeled to know how to model. I mean, for them to know how to emulate it. And so it was huge to me in my heart. And when I first started dating, one of the things that I said in the conversations early on was, of that reason of why I wanted to marry again, so they can see conflict resolution modeled, that they can see masculine and feminine energy modeled. And you immediately heard from men their perspective on that. So when it comes to the dating roadmap and you being able to save your energy and immediately find whoever your romantic person is faster, that's part of it. Saying, why do you want a marriage again or a long-term relationship again? Why do you want that? And when I said that and I stood in that authority and I owned that, immediately men, I could hear it, that they were out. That didn't make sense. I've never thought of it that way, whatever. Or even the men who said, I've never considered that before. That's really true. I didn't have that modeled growing up. And that's what led to my divorce.
Mm.
Men who want to grow, the men who want to offer that to their kids and to you and to themselves, that was clear, you know?
Yeah.
Having that conversation made that so distinctly clear, and I can tell you that was such a oh, my tear that was such a huge asset to offer a man, and for a man to offer a woman in that portion of that dating roadmap, for you to understand, I'm not alone in this. It
Yeah.
does get to be easier. It does get to be more beautiful. It does get to be better, and I do get
Mm.
to offer my kids a better example. That's beautiful. Who wouldn't want that,
Yeah. And
you
I
know?
mean, even though I don't have kids, if I would have kids, I also would want to see them how a happy, healthy relationship looks like. Not only I think that's also something that they would need to have modeled, right? How someone celebrates nice
Mhm.
successes and yeah, how you are a team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my brain went, "Whew."
I know we are processing both so much while we are talking. We don't record this content for the sake of recording, right? It's also
Yeah,
for
yeah,
us a lot.
my brain went to a part that so a couple months ago, my daughter, she wants a cat. And I was saying, okay, well, I get married this summer and we joined houses at that point. And so I was like, okay, well, this is a conversation that we would have with my fiance as well. Like I'm gonna talk with him about it. What kind of cat would we want in the house? Would it be indoor, outdoor? What are these things? And she immediately I could see her nervous system and body go, what do you mean you have to talk to him? And she's seen me in this experience go from I was bowing down and giving up all my will, all my authority, all my everything to this person to make that person happy in a marriage to I've reclaimed my voice. I've reclaimed what I want and I get to make the decisions in my home with my money and my time and my energy. And immediately her nervous system and body was like, what do you mean you got to talk to him? What why would a guy have a say? And that right there is what I mean by like, I want to offer my daughter what it is to have two people work together who love each other. She had not seen that modeled. And
Mm.
so she walked with that process. I talked with my fiance and we talked together about things that we agree on, that we disagree on. We created a plan together of what this is going to look like when we get a cat and what kind of cat, building an outdoor indoor door because that's, what we both agreed on. And then in the end, when her and I talked about it, about the different parts of the conversation, because one of the things that I do in my relationship with my fiance is we don't have to have an answer right now. We're just talking about it. You think about it. I'll think about it. We'll come back. That's something I didn't have in my marriage. And so that's really been great for her to see too. We don't have to have an urgency and an answer right now. And so as those conversations happened and then we came to an agreement of what it was, she had such peace and she got to see, oh my tear, but she got to see this modeled of what it is to agree and disagree and collaborate together and work together for something for the home. And it's so important, I think, for our children to see that. And that alone is an enormous reason to get married again. It is. And what rises in women when they hear that is, but what if I get hurt again?
Mm.
And the most basic response outside of that emotional attachment that I can give is you've received food poisoning eating out before, but you eat out again. You know what I mean? You've gotten bad experience working with an auto mechanic shop at times, but you go back to an auto mechanic shop again. You've gotten places and gotten clothes that when you get them home, they fall apart, but you go back to shopping again. You know what I mean? The avoiding the entire experience as a whole because you didn't have better tools does not make sense when it comes to these other versions of our life. And instead, what I'd like to encourage women is recognizing if this is an experience you're called to, being true to yourself in that, being honest with yourself with that, and getting better tools to do this better because real love does exist. Great relationships do exist. Fantastic marriages do exist. Showing our children and modeling conflict resolution and collaboration is important. They just is. Yeah.
And you also re-answered or gave a new aspect to the thing of numbing, what we had earlier, right?
Mm.
Like now we have better tools, so you can get out of your shell.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not stuck like the same looping pattern when you have better tools, you know? It's not that it will or won't hurt, it's the way in which you walk through it is different.
Mm,
And that's my goal of what I'm offering women is women are hungry for more, men are hungry for more. We're hungry for being able to have more in our life, more income coming in, you know, somebody who's helping with more income, more support, more love, more help like when I'm sick, you know, and he's there and he's encouraging me and he's supporting me. So we are hungry for more. What happens is we get hurt along the way of trying to get it, and then we just give up and numb out and go, well, maybe it's just not for me. And
mm.
when it comes to so many other things in our life, we continue to rise again, um, try again. You know, we all have had cars and then the car eventually breaks down. None of us are like, well, you know what, maybe driving isn't for me. I'm just never getting a car again. You know, we still go and try to get another car, you know. We understand, okay, and in this time, I'm gonna choose a better gas mileage or whatever, you know. And so building the perspective of hope and resilience in people versus perpetuating these are all the ways that you could get hurt and red flags and inner child and trauma and that you need to avoid. That's really my heart's intention with Hungry for More for women. Yeah.
Beautiful, Jennifer. I think we can stop recording here for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.